Hey John here. So I got this Exmark dropped off, and the fellow that owns it says he hit a rock. After hitting a rock, he's got a horrible noise, and he thinks it's coming from this fellow here, the Ultra Vac. And they're pretty pricey units, but I told him I'd look at it, see what's happening. Let's start her up and see what the noise is first, I guess. Yep, something's in there hitting. Let's go take this thing apart, see what it's doing. Alright, so he said he hit a rock and it started making a noise. So at first, when this was on a mower, this thing is popped up. So something got on there, and this is pretty thick ass metal, so it's a pretty big rock, I guess. But it's popped up, but that's actually going to help it because the way this propeller goes around. So I didn't initially find what was hitting, but I think I see actually. I know what it is now, but I'm going to have to take this plastic shroud off to get in there and show you. And I told the guy, he already, I told him it's junk and needs a new one. And he's like, "You're kidding me," because these things are pretty pricey. He goes, "Can't you fix it?" And he knows me. I'm like, "Well, I could probably fix anything, but I can't, promise you anything because it's a rotating device at 1,000,000 miles an hour." So I'll take it apart and show you what it looks like and show you my idea. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, no big deal. But let me take it apart and show you. Well, I'll get everything apart because it's so old. It was a challenge for sure, getting all them rusty bolts off. Had to cut most of them off and getting the propeller out, which was the problem. That was the problem right there. I could show you, kinda show you. Be hard to show you exactly, but so this piece here is bent up quite a bit. So the other three spokes are fine. Now when you get to this guy here, it's jacked. It's jacked pretty good. I don't know if you can see that bend that way. Like the next one. They're all pretty much in line. Then you get to this guy, it's pretty bent. Either way, it's hitting on something, and it's shiny metal there, so it's scraping on something. I guess it would just continue to scrape, but the higher RPMs, the worse it got, and it's pretty jacked, pretty good. So the proper way to do this is buy a new piece here. Pretty severe crack, so it's sloping down, right? It's cracked on both sides. These are expensive, and I don't know if it's cheaper to buy the parts, the propeller, and whatever else I destroyed getting this thing apart. It's going to need some bearings, one bearing cup. Everything's so rusted, and you might as well get bearings. I mean, the bearings, well, they are making noise. So you might as well get bearings, bearing cups. So by the time you do all that, I don't know, this thing is pretty expensive. So, it at least needs this, or I could try to fix it. Even looks tweaked this way, looking straight on. Alright, so this spoke here is the one that's it's bent down, or up, however, whatever. So there's a crack in the weld here on both sides. And see how it's welded here, and there's a bead on this side. If I can get this blade out of here, and then bend this spoke up, and then clean the blade up and re-weld it in place when it's, everything's square again, then it can be repaired. Otherwise, I don't know how much this piece cost, but he's got some other issues with bearings and, shrouding and everything. But I called him, he doesn't want to spend any money. So you can see here that the width of this thing is supposed to be, the width of this whole thing, well, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the width of this whole blade is supposed to be this thickness back here. So this thing is old enough to where it's whittled down to, it's basically like over here. You see how the leaves, they just wear and tear, and it kind of tweaking everything down. I'm sure these things are supposed to be straight as an arrow, and everything's kind of tweaked. Probably the rock didn't help, but it's very thin right here. It's almost like a butter knife thickness. So it's going to be soon where it's going to be wore through anyways. If He keeps using this. So I'm thinking he should probably get a new blade, but he doesn't want to. He wants to know if I can repair it. So we're going to go ahead and try to repair it and just give it back to him and go from there. Just going to use a big crescent wrench, hopefully bend this thing off of here. Alright, so there's the blade. We'll clean that up, and then we'll clean this up, and then I don't even think I need to heat this up. I think I could put it in a vise and bend it back cold, but we'll see what happens here. Alright, so this is what I'm talking about. So this is about as straight as you know that can be. Same thing over here, right? It's pretty much sitting flat on a level, but you go to this bent spoke here. That's about an 1/8 inch gap in the center there. I don't know if you can make that out, but it's pretty messed up. So we're going to just take and it's still a little warm from grinding it, so hopefully just bending this down. Cold will work. Yeah, it's bending pretty easy. That was about halfway actually. A little too much on the end here. I have to bend that back up, but looks like this hump right here. So might have to. I don't have anything that's going to reach that far in. Let's see. Plus this thing keeps moving in the vise. Might take a hammer and just try to bend this part down to get that smooth. Right? This won't tighten it up. Oh yeah, that's much better. Just a wee bit more. All kinds of stuff falling apart. That's good there. Actually, yeah, that's good there. Now I can bend this little piece back up on the tip here. I mean, it was an 1/8 inch off, right? So now everything's as smooth as I can get it. So now we can just weld this piece right back on. Right? That's what I'm thinking. Put this booger back down, other way. Oh, that's still warm. So we'll just weld that right back in place. Right? Get a magnet to hold it, but that'll be that. Alright, she's good as new. Let's put this puppy back together, see what happens. I kind of repeated the welds like they had it on the other blades, so it is what it is. If it's unbalanced, whatever. Alright, if this was my machine, I would replace the bearings, but very crunchy. The guy said just put it back together. See if you can fix the blade, put it back together. He doesn't want to put any parts into it, so. Alright, so I did not show how to put this thing, or how I took it apart, but just really how to straighten this out, so sorry about that. But alright, so flipped upside down, sandwiched together. We didn't put the shoulder on or the pulley. There's the shoulder. Shoulder goes here, the pulley next with, there's a keyway, so it's not hitting now, but that doesn't mean anything. It's well above, well, you can't see in there, but where it was. So we'll go ahead and put the pulley on, tighten the bolt down, get this thing back together. We'll put the plastic shroud on, get this thing back together, and I think this will be a fix. Okay, so I just put the thing together. As far as I didn't put the plastic shroud on or the metal guard, but let's start this thing up, see if it makes any noise. This is probably a bad idea with this camera here. Joke. Alright, so I got this puppy back together, so that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Let's see if this thing will suck up some leaves. I'll catch you next time.